Objection!
If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit. Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it. Wait, hold on. Bam. That's brilliant. I like that. But who? Who? Who could it be? The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished swimming around in his mind palace, which honestly, I'm pretty sure that Edgeworth has his own mind palace, his logic palace in his own games. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby... I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What do you say, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. True. Clunko's strange malfunction. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Oh, because Apollo wears Terran's jacket. Mr. Terran, but that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo's possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag, all because Clunko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify that robot's facial recognition, and then... because of the eye patch. Oh, that's not an eye patch. Okay, never mind. I thought he was wearing an eye patch. Okay. All the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her. Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid, because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. The hyper-reflective glasses that Aura wears would reflect the scans. I did look at her glasses and I was like, maybe. We'll see if they bring that up. What? So does that mean... Yes, Your Honor, the person Miss Sykes stabbed, this third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes, is her mother's real killer. But that's... impossible. Okay, my bad. I thought you were saying I'm. Because there was no apostrophe, so I thought that was weird. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask? Oh shit. Yes, I remember. Oh shit. She's starting to remember. Athena, what is it? Have we broken one off? I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head. Miss Sykes, are you alright? The black psych locks. They're breaking. Are they all breaking at once? Oh shit. We defeated the final secret. It's all coming back to me now. Everything that happened the day my mother died. They're gone. The black cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mum. I opened the door and then... It's all right. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor by the workbench with a katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face. But then I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there. A man? Quiet, Your Honor. Quite literally, shut the fuck up. Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and he dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. Not that one. That one? Right there? Who was wearing that? But I tried again, and this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Oh, that was someone else in a different case. I was like, didn't someone have their hand stabbed? But no, that was someone else in a different case. The jacket specifically says it is Aura's jacket. Well, not Aura's jacket, sorry. Metis Sykes' jacket. They all look the same apart from Cosmos' one in the middle. But yeah, they're all exactly the same. Then he kicked me and I passed out. The murder weapon used on Terran. Athena also used one of these to stab the Phantom's hand during the incident 7 years ago. When I came to, my mum wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned the mask. Athena, can you tell us anything about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mum's Japanese theatre mask. We've seen that. There. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab. Ah, this mask hanging here on the wall. It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mum used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human into a phantom. A phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means all suspicion against Miss Sykes is... Or is not having it. You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell, this is not good. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. And so I'd like to say one thing if I could. Punko came to the robotics lab around 2 o'clock to recharge. Yep, I remember. I see where you're going with this. If Mummy Metis was really the killer in disguise. Right, then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 o'clock. Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the... to the lab before 2 p.m.? We'll have to have something with a timestamp on it. Like a video. Does this have a timestamp? No, it does not. But it's the only thing there. It doesn't have a time. Okay, it doesn't have a timestamp, but it's literally a video. Blackwell was the only one to pass through at the time of the crime. This puts it back on Blackwell. Is there a clock in any pictures? Not this one. And of the crime scene. Not that one. 7-year-old photos. No. I'm gonna try the video, see how... Because the hard fact is, yeah, only person to pass through at the time of the crime.
Take that!
It's probably wrong. Oh, it's right. This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does this video show anyone else passing by before then? I don't see anything in the investigation check. I can't fucking read today. I don't see anything in their investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m, we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then, let's take a look. There, please stop it right there. You mean no one scrubbed the fucking footage? Bro, the police are shite. It's just like you said. There is a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him, I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. Oh, it's not been updated, my bad. I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes. Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere. So then everything Miss Sykes said. Exactly, it proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 o'clock. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and a mask that was there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Punko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Punko to come to the lab for a regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Punko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up until that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death. It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that it's not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket confirms beyond a doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, why is it there? Now, how could it have possibly wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make any sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back to the lab? Someone brought it back. The killer, I guess? Maybe the defendant. Miss Sykes brought the jacket back to the lab. I see. So you're saying Miss Sykes is an accomplice then? I'll believe, or... Yeah, no, absolutely not. My bad. The killer then. The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape, but in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved. Except that it would have been impossible. Excuse me. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the 2 people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? A puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? Ooh, when the body was found. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the Hat 1 launch. One of the people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose if that jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with a theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean... I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, right? Not that this was ever an official trial anyway. Oh, shut up. Haha, you didn't win. You might ears deceive me. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding? Is it true, boss? Does that mean I can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Wait. Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say I see no need to further prolong. Not you either, Your Honor. Now silence. The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis and who repaid that love with death. All these years, hating Athena was the only thing that's kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anybody tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell. How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that... Shut up, Simon! You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a co-worker... Gay? They were gay. Well, she was gay. She's gay. Surely, right? This is where we're going with it? Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted. Then what did you want from her? Did you really just go there, Your Honor? Aura, there is something I've wanted to say, if you will lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is. You do? Right, Dono? You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past. That's right. The Phantom. The person Blackwell has been looking for, even from behind bars. 7 years ago, someone hatched a plan to sabotage that Hat-1 rocket. The spy. But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then, one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained the lead on him. How exciting. What was the lead? A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for a proper voice analysis. And yet I had hope. Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology. And that scientist was Dr. Sykes. Yes, a spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hat-1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording was surely among his targets. But his search of the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic. He couldn't find them? But where could they have been? Who is to say? Wow, I bet he's never let that out of his sight all of these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison? Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing. Ah. I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt. What about the results that Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information? Here, you can see for yourself, but take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor. I will. I better hold on to this real tight. Excuse me. The subject's emotions rarely fluctuate, and he doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. I'm sorry. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. Bro, is this Mob for Mob Psycho? No emotional fluctuation, huh? A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness nor anger, and naturally no fear. He is the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us all into motion. The Phantom, indeed, a fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then, it seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow a protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end. Whatever, do what you want. You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything. I don't think this is over yet. Athena, you're more than welcome. If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. You're taking too long. Fuck. I knew it. Who? You. Apollo. Apollo! What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago, and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet. What the fuck are you doing, Apollo? Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? Is this a to be continued moment? Ah, right, here we go. Right. Whew, December 20th, District Court number 4, sorry. Thank you. Properly back now. We are coming up towards the end of this, surely. Mr. Justice, please explain yourself. Very simple. There isn't much to explain. The defendant, Miss Athena Sykes, might not be innocent. What are you talking about? The case from 7 years ago has been settled. I'm not talking about the past here. I'm talking about the present case. It's still not clear who killed Clay Terran. Right, so we can have another trial about that. But Apollo, why would you? Miss Sykes, please listen quietly as to what I have to say. What in the world is Apollo trying to do? Your Honor, please allow me a little of the court's time. But this is a trial for the case from 7 years ago. Miss Blackwell, I'd like to ask a favor of you. Just as you lost someone close to you, I lost someone close to me too. I'm sure you want to know the real truth of what happened as much as I do. Apollo? Sure, you know I'm all for the truth. Now let's see you expose the princess's guilt. Judge, I give my permission. Continue with the trial. Very well. If that's all right with you, Prosecutor Edgeworth. The prosecution has no objections. Let's hear Mr. Justice's testimony. I'll have the police's investigation report brought immediately. Not you too, Edgeworth. I really hope it's because you have something up your sleeve. Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. As you wish. Let's review the case of the murder of Clay Terran. I'm so tired. It was made clear in the previous trials that Solomon Starbuck was not the killer. Therefore, the true culprit was someone else. On that day, this culprit waited for the astronauts in Ward and Lounge 1. When the two men made their escape out of the Space Museum, the killer attacked Terran with the same type of knife that was used 7 years ago. The murderer then escaped into the Space Museum. Next, director Yuri Cosmo switched the launch pads. After that, the culprit exited the Space Museum and escaped via boarding lounge 2. Therefore, this trial must make clear who Mr. Terran's true killer was. In other words, we must discover who it was that escaped through the Space Museum that day. Thank you, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Mr. Wright, is the defense ready? Yes, Your Honor. Better rearrange my evidence. Rearrange. All of this shit is back now. Fuck, okay. Fuck's sake. Okay. I'm not happy about this. Anyway. I suspected Miss Sykes on the murder of Clay Terran. My growing suspicions were confirmed when this incriminating evidence presented itself. In addition, she's the only one who could have utilized the launchpad switch to escape. That is why I wish to indict Miss Sykes on the charge of murder. What do you mean, Twilight? Order in the court. Mr. Justice, you realize you are charging your own co-worker with murder, don't you? Yes, Your Honor, because that is the conclusion my investigation has led me to. But, Apollo, why? How could you suspect me too? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. I don't get it. Just what did you find over the past few days to make you think this? His points of contention are the fingerprints on the lighter and the escape route, huh? Apollo knows how I operate, so I can't use my usual tactics on him. It looks like the only thing I can do here is press him for more information. Okay.
Hold it!
What first made you suspicious of Miss Sykes? It all started when Miss Sykes and I were investigating the crime scene. When she saw the weapon that killed Mr. Sorry. Right. When she saw the weapon that killed Mr. Terran, my bracelet reacted. Did it? Did it? She said she'd never seen the knife before, but my bracelet told me otherwise. And then every time after that, my bracelet would react when she talked about the case. I'm gonna need the tapes. Did it? Specifically, I want to go to the knife. Wait. Bear with me one moment. I couldn't find the video or the episode. Like, okay, so I found an episode. It was like, because obviously the last case started with the trial about Clay Terran and stuff like that. And they brought up, and I found the moment where they were able to bring up, they first brought up the photo. I believe it might be here, maybe. No, it's not here. Yes, they brought up this photo, and it was like, this is the knife that was used to kill. But Athena didn't say anything. In fact, neither did Apollo. So I'm not entirely sure where that's come from. I didn't know what to do or think. I couldn't even sleep. In that condition, I knew I wouldn't be any good in court. So I decided to wear an eye patch. So I wouldn't be able to perceive any of her tells. This all happened off screen. Right? I'm scrubbing through the video again. Yes, when this case starts, he's already wearing the eye patch. Or when that case started, it was already wearing the eye patch. And since episode 4 started with the case, it means that they skipped the investigation part of that and went straight to the trial. Episode 4 started with the trial. So all of this that he's describing happened before episode 4 started. So we're revealing what happened before the trial even happened. So that's why he showed up with an eye patch, because I was like, oh wait, he's still got the eye patch even though this is before the bombing took place. Why? This is why. So I wouldn't be able to perceive any of her tells. So that's why Apollo was acting so strangely. But the reason Miss Sykes unconsciously reacted to the knife that way is because she stabbed her mother's murderer with one identical to it 7 years ago. But that knife was also the murder weapon that was used to kill Clay Terran, but it wasn't the exact same one. My bracelet could have also reacted to her because she knew she was this killer too. Yeah, I guess he has a point. But my bracelet wasn't the only reason I became suspicious of her. My growing suspicions were confirmed when this incriminating evidence presented itself. That's the lighter that was found in the Space Museum with her fingerprint on it, right? But even if it seems decisive, there must be other facts we don't know about it yet. That's so, go ahead and prove it then. Look, honestly, I don't want to believe it's true either, but Miss Sykes was the only one who was in the Space Museum at the time of the murder. But Mr. Justice, Miss Sykes had absolutely no motive to kill Mr. Terran. 7 years ago, Miss Sykes lived at this Cosmos Space Center. It wouldn't be strange if she had some kind of connection to him. Besides, people sometimes kill for motives we can't even imagine. I know you've seen plenty of cases like that in your own career, Mr. Wright. I still can't believe this. How could you actually suspect Athena, Apollo? Bombing? Yes, there was a bombing in the first episode. This game has been weird. It's like had the longest in medias res ever. So episode 1 starts off with the bombing, and then the case that goes on, that happens after it based on the bombing, and then it goes back in, and then from the second episode it goes back in time to before the case of the bombing, and then episode 2, episode 3 goes in chronological order up to episode 4, where it leads up to the moment that episode 1 happens. Yeah. In addition, she's the only one who could have used the launch pad to escape. Isn't it possible that somebody else used that same escape route? I'm afraid not, Mr. Wright. Why not? Recall that there is a security camera in boarding lounge 1 aimed at the launch pad door. It's the camera that captured Mr. Terran and Mr. Starbuck. There's also another security camera in boarding lounge 2. It recorded Mr. Terran's killer, or rather Miss Sykes, coming out of the Space Museum. A camera in boarding lounge 2? First I've heard of it, but it makes sense. Athena said she had snuck into the Space Museum the night before the incident, and then was overcome and passed out until around noon the next day. I didn't even know about the explosions. When I woke up, nobody was around. That's the thing. That's because the story has been I can see the word in my head, but I can't spell it or pronounce it. But yeah, it's just gone in a weird order, basically. So at the end of the oh god, I don't know the timeline. Oh yeah, at the end of the first half of this episode 5 here, that's when he left. And then it fell to Phoenix to finish off the rest of the case. That's what made Apollo suspect her even more, but wait a minute. In that case, it most likely recorded the true culprit as well. That's a negative on that one too, Mr. Wright. In the footage taken after the incident, Miss Sykes is the only one who appears. What? Why? Story's been all over the place. It's hard to sort of explain if you've not sort of been following a bit closer. Because it's not gone in a what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, it's just not gone in order, basically. That can't be, but if it is, then it's definitely incredibly incriminating. Wasn't it you who proved in the previous trial that the way the true culprit escaped was via the Space Museum after the pads had been switched? A fact you previously proved turned on its ear, leaving your client high and dry. I must say, that is vintage Phoenix Wright. Is crazy. Ugh. That is why I wish to indict Miss Sykes on the charge of murder. Believing in your client to the end is a basic principle of good defense. Shouldn't you extend that same principle to your own co-worker? You're probably right. Maybe I'm not even fit to be a lawyer. However, I don't care. This case is special to me. Clay was my friend, and that's why I just have to know the truth. This would hit harder if I met Clay while he was alive, or if Clay was even mentioned at all before this game. Sequential is what I was looking for. Yes. I could fucking care less about Terry and Clay. Which is why I'm like, I don't care, Apollo, what you feel about this case, because I don't care about Clay myself. We've not given any time or any opportunity to care about Clay as a character. Apollo suspected his trusted co-worker of killing his friend. To dispel his doubts, he investigated on his own, but that only led to more doubts. Apollo must have been really struggling with this. Well, Apollo may have doubt, but I'll say it again. Athena Sykes isn't the murderer. Then I only have one thing to say. Evidence is everything in court. Well, Mr. Wright, think you have the concrete proof to knock down my arguments? Your arguments have been very clear, Mr. Justice, and your facts appear to be indisputable. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think of my theory? Got a fucking grin in his face. Man, shut up. It looks like not even you can deny it. Miss Sykes was the only one who used the only possible escape route. Under these circumstances, there can be no other suspect but the defendant, unless you think there was an alternative escape route. Is that what you think, Mr. Wright? Is that what you think, Mr. Wright? Is that what you think, Mr. Wright? Of course. Of course. I will admit the mental image of my bare shenanigans in a courtroom while all this serious shit is going on is hilarious. To you? You're just bluffing again, aren't you? I sure am. Me? Bluff? No way. He knows me too well. It's fine, Mr. Wright. Even a bluff would suit me just fine. Well, as long as you can. He wants you to prove him wrong. Yeah, he wants you to prove him wrong. Like, please prove me wrong. On God, Phoenix Wright. Clear up this doubt inside me. Wait, so this is what this is all about? I really want to believe in Athena. I really do. But what is faith without doubt? That's why I need to question her guilt, so that once the truth finally comes out, I can fully trust her. So that you can really trust me? It seems your junior partners just showed us what trials are truly all about. I believe you're right. We prosecutors painstakingly question every detail in pursuit of the defendant, while we lawyers believe in and defend our clients to the end. When both sides go all out against each other, that's when we discover the truth. Precisely. And when the battle is over, we will understand the true meaning of trust. That is exactly what trials are about. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, I couldn't ignore the seed of doubt that was growing inside me, so I decided I needed to face it head on. No matter what the truth that's waiting ahead, I won't be afraid. That's so like Apollo, always uber earnest about things like this. Mr. Justice, I vow to dispel every last bit of doubt in your heart. Good, because I want to believe in Miss Sykes again. You're really hoping there was an alternative route, aren't you, Apollo? But if I use the process of elimination, there really aren't that many possibilities. Director Cosmos was at the southern exit, leaving only the control room and the corridor to the Space Museum. Which door could the culprit have escaped through? Come on, Miss Wright. Where do you think the culprit escaped to? I don't fucking know. Makes sense it would be this. They really only could have escaped to the corridor to the Space Museum. All they had to do was use the unconscious Mr. Starbucks Prince to get through the door.
Objection!
It appears all you're trying to... Oh, you know what? This is probably why I have the fucking ladder here. Yeah. It appears all you're trying to establish is Miss Sykes' guilt. Oh, did I get it wrong? If the culprit used that route, the only exit would have been into boarding lounge 2. The logical conclusion of your argument is that the killer is none other than the defendant. I knew it. That's the only way it could be, huh? If the culprit escaped into the corridor that leads to the Space Museum, then I guess it's true. The only exit would have been into Boarding Lounge 2. But Miss Sykes was the only person captured by the Boarding Lounge 2 security camera. I investigated the crime scene thoroughly. But the only place the culprit could have escaped to was the Space Museum corridor. There weren't any other secret corridors or anything. So that leaves us with no other conclusion to draw but that Athena... So that leaves us with no other conclusion to draw but that Athena Sykes was the culprit. What could the answer be? Is there really no other escape route? But hold on a second. What if... Ow, 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 ow. The fucking leaf. Yeah. Where did those mysterious leaves we saw in the corridor come from? I forgot about the leaves. I think it is possible that the culprit escaped into the Space Museum, but then came out using a route other than into Boarding Lounge 2. Oh? Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched after the bombing, which means the Space Museum corridor was moving along the rail at the time, which is exactly when an alternative escape route opened up for our client. Are you kidding me? Judging by the intense look in your eyes, I take it you're serious. Very well, then, Mr. Wright, do tell. Where could the culprit have gone from... where could the culprit have gone from the museum corridor besides Boarding Lounge 2? Outside... Outside... We found something odd. Yeah, okay. We found something odd while investigating the museum corridor this afternoon. Namely, a few dead leaves on the floor. Considering where dead leaves come from, they point us exactly to where the culprit escaped to. Yes, I remember seeing some leaves myself. Ah! Do you mean... Yep, while the Space Museum was in motion, just beyond the corridor's safety door, was an alternative place that the culprit could use to escape. In other words, the culprit's real escape route was the area outside the Space Center. Yo, bro, that's insane.